Someone said one sentence to you, just one sentence, and your whole day turned upside down. Your mood dropped. Your focus broke. Your peace disappeared. And hours later, you were still replaying it in your head. Still angry. Still hurt. Still stuck. This happens to almost everyone. A rude comment. A cold reply. A look someone gave you. A small mistake you made. And suddenly, your entire day is ruined. You carry that feeling into your work. You carry it into your sleep. You wake up the next morning still thinking about it. One tiny moment, hours of your life gone, days sometimes. And the worst part is, you gave that power away without even noticing. There is a rare kind of person who does not do this. You have seen them before. Someone insults them, and they do not flinch. Someone tries to provoke them, and they stay calm. Life throws chaos at them, and they still walk with a steady mind. People call them cold. People call them lucky. But it is neither. It is a skill. A trained skill. And in the next few minutes, you are going to learn exactly how it works. This video is not going to give you empty quotes or generic advice you have heard 100 times before. This is going to break down the real reason your mind reacts the way it does, using ideas backed by psychology and tested for centuries by some of the calmest minds in human history. You will learn why the event that upsets you. You will learn a simple way to separate what you can control from what you cannot. So you stop wasting energy on things that were never yours to carry. You will learn how to change the meaning of a painful moment so it loses its grip on you. You will learn why boundaries are not selfish, they are survival. You will learn a simple method to calm your body in seconds when your mind starts spinning. And you will learn why the way you speak to yourself after a mistake decides how fast you recover from it. Every single one of these lessons builds on the one before it. Skip even one part and you will miss a piece of the puzzle that makes this whole system work. So if you truly want to reach the end of this video as a calmer, stronger, harder to shake version of yourself, stay until the very last part. That is where everything comes together. There is a story that many people do not know. A man once ruled over a massive empire during one of its darkest periods. War on one border. Plague spreading through his own cities. Betrayal from people close to him. Any normal person would have broken under that pressure. But he did not. Every night, he sat down and wrote to himself. Not for anyone else to read. Just for his own mind. Reminders. Corrections. Lessons. Those private notes eventually became one of the most respected pieces of writing in history. Not because he was untouched by pain, but because he trained his mind to respond to pain differently than everyone else around him. That is not luck. That is not personality. That is practice. And what worked for him still works today. Proven again and again by modern research on how the brain handles stress and emotion. By the end of this video, you will understand the exact framework behind that kind of calm. Not a vague idea of it. Not a vague idea of it. An actual, usable system you can start applying today, in real situations, with real people, during real stress, during real stress. And this is not about becoming numb. This is not about pretending you do not feel anything. It is about deciding what deserves your energy and refusing to hand it out for free anymore. So if you are tired of letting small moments control your entire mood, if you are tired of replaying arguments in your head at night, if you are ready to feel steady even when life gets loud, this video was made for exactly that reason. Watch it fully. Take it seriously, because the version of you who finishes this video will already think differently than the version of you who started it. Before we go further, welcome to the channel. If you are new here, this is a place built for people who want real mental strength, real inner peace, and real growth, without the fluff. If that sounds like something you need in your life right now, hit subscribe before we continue. Because this channel is going to keep giving you tools like the ones you are about to learn today. Now let us get into it. Let's clear up something first. Being unbothered does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you turn cold or distant or numb to the world around you. That is a common misunderstanding, and it stops a lot of people from ever trying to build this skill. A person who is truly unbothered still feels. They still love deeply. They still notice pain, both their own and other people's. The difference is that they do not let every small thing hijack their mind. They feel the emotion, they process it, and then they let it pass through instead of holding on to it for hours or days. Caring and being unbothered are not opposites. You can care about your work, your family, your goals, and still refuse to let a rude comment from a stranger control your entire evening. So why does almost everyone struggle with this? The answer goes back further than most people realize. From the moment we are children, we are trained to react instantly to everything around us. A toy gets taken away, and we cry immediately. Someone laughs at us, and we feel shame right away. Nobody sits a 5-year-old down and teaches them how to pause before reacting. Nobody teaches emotional regulation in most schools. So we grow up with a nervous system that is wired for instant response, not thoughtful reaction. By the time we become adults, this pattern is so deep that it feels automatic. Someone criticizes us, and within a second, before we even think, our chest tightens and our mood shifts. It feels like it is happening to us. But the truth is, it is a trained response, not a fixed law of nature. And anything trained can be retrained. This brings us to the core idea that changes everything once you truly understand it. It is not the event itself that causes your pain. It is the meaning you attach to that event. It is the meaning you attach to that event. If two people can hear the exact same harsh comment from a coworker, if one person spirals into anger and carries it home with them, the other person hears it, shrugs, and moves on within minutes. Same words, same tone, same moment. Completely different outcomes. The difference was never the comment. The difference was what each person told themselves about the comment. One person told themselves, "This means I am disrespected. This means I am not good enough." The other person told themselves, "This says more about that person's mood than it does about me." That single shift in interpretation is the entire foundation of becoming unbothered. This is not just a nice idea someone made up to sound wise. It is backed by real research in modern psychology. There is a well-studied technique called cognitive reappraisal. In simple terms, it means changing the way you think about a situation in order to change how you feel about it. Instead of viewing a stressful event as a threat, you learn to view it as information, or as a challenge, or as something that simply is not personal. Studies on cognitive reappraisal show that people who use this skill regularly report better mental health, lower anxiety, fewer symptoms of depression, and even better physical health outcomes over time. Researchers have found that this is not just about feeling better in the moment. Reappraisal actually changes the way your brain processes emotional information. It has been observed in brain imaging studies showing real physical changes in activity when someone reframes a stressful thought instead of reacting to it automatically. This is not wishful thinking. This is measurable science. Long before modern psychology had labs and brain scans, ancient thinkers were already teaching a version of the same idea. The Stoic philosophers, who lived thousands of years ago, built an entire way of life around one simple principle known as the dichotomy of control. It says that everything in life falls into one of two categories. It says that everything in life falls into one of two categories: things you can control and things you cannot control. Your thoughts, your actions, your effort, your responses, these are yours. Other people's opinions, the weather, traffic, what someone says about you behind your back, these are not yours. The Stoics believed that almost all human suffering comes from confusing the two. We try to control things that were never ours to control, and we neglect the one thing that always was ours, which is our own mind. What makes this powerful is that modern psychology arrived at nearly the same conclusion, independently, thousands of years later, through controlled studies and clinical research. When ancient philosophy and modern science agree this closely, it is worth paying attention. It is worth paying attention. Now let's turn this into something you can actually use. The first pillar of becoming unbothered is learning to sort your worries correctly. Every single day, your mind is flooded with concerns, big and small. A deadline at work, a friend who seems distant, a decision someone else made that affects you, the economy, the news, what a stranger online said. Most people throw all of these into one giant pile of stress and carry the entire weight of it. Instead, try this simple daily exercise. Take a moment, maybe in the morning or at night, and write down what is bothering you. Then split that list into 2 columns. In the first column, put everything that is actually yours to act on, things you have real influence over. In the second column, put everything that belongs to someone else, or to circumstances you cannot change, other people's choices, other people's moods, outcomes that are already decided, opinions you cannot control. Once you see it written out like this, something becomes obvious. Most of what drains you every day belongs in the second pile. And the moment you stop trying to carry that pile, your mind gets lighter almost immediately. This is not about giving up or not trying. It is about putting your limited energy only where it can actually make a difference. The second pillar goes one level deeper. It is not enough to know what to focus on. You also need to know how to change the meaning you give to the things that do happen to you. This is where reframing comes in. When something painful happens, a mistake, a rejection, a setback, your mind automatically wants to label it as an attack, as proof that something is wrong with you. But you can train yourself to treat it as information instead. A rejection is not proof you are unworthy. It is information that this particular path was not the right fit. A mistake at work is not proof you are incompetent. It is information about what to adjust next time. To practice this in real time, use 3 simple questions the moment something upsets you. First, is this actually about me, or is it about the other person's situation? Second, will this matter in a week, in a month, in a year? Third, what is one thing I can learn or take from this instead of just feeling hurt by it? These 3 questions take less than 30 seconds to run through, but they interrupt the automatic spiral before it gains momentum. Over time, this becomes your default response instead of something you have to force. The third pillar is boundaries, and this is where a lot of people get confused. Being unbothered does not mean being passive or letting people walk all over you. In fact, it is the opposite. People who are genuinely calm and unshaken are usually the ones with the strongest boundaries. They protect their time, their energy, and their attention on purpose because they understand that peace is not something you find by accident. It is something you defend. This means learning to say no without guilt when something does not align with your goals or your values. It means limiting exposure to people who consistently drain you or provoke you, even if that means spending less time with certain individuals. It means being intentional about what you let into your mind every day. The news you consume, the arguments you scroll through online, the constant noise competing for your attention. Every input you allow into your mind either adds to your peace or takes away from it. choosing your inputs is not selfish. It is basic self-preservation. The fourth pillar often gets ignored, but it is just as important as anything happening in your mind. Your body plays a direct role in how bothered you feel. When something triggers you, your nervous system reacts before your thoughts even fully form. Your heart rate rises, your breathing gets shallow, your muscles tense. If you only try to think your way out of this state, it often does not work fast enough, because your body is already flooded with stress chemicals. This is why breath and stillness are not just relaxation techniques. They are practical tools for regulating your nervous system in real time. Here is a simple reset you can use the moment you feel triggered. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold that breath gently for a count of 4. Then breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, making the exhale longer than the inhale. Repeat this 3 or 4 times. This simple pattern signals to your nervous system that you are safe, which allows your mind to shift out of reaction mode and back into a state where clear thinking is actually possible. The fifth pillar is the one people neglect the most, and it is self-compassion. Many people believe that being hard on themselves is what keeps them disciplined and sharp. In reality, harsh self-criticism keeps you stuck in a reactive state. When you make a mistake and immediately attack yourself for it, you are adding another layer of stress on top of the original problem. And that combination is what keeps you spinning instead of recovering. Unbothered people are not people who never make mistakes. They are people who know how to recover quickly. And recovery speed depends heavily on how you talk to yourself in that moment. Try treating yourself the way you would treat someone you genuinely love if they came to you after a setback. You would not scream at them or call them worthless. You would acknowledge what happened, remind them it is not the end of the world, and help them figure out the next step. Learning to offer yourself that same tone changes how fast you bounce back from difficult moments, and over time, it changes how difficult those moments even feel in the first place. There is a story from history that captures all 5 of these pillars in one life. Centuries ago, a man was placed in charge of one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. During one of its most brutal periods, war broke out on multiple borders at once. A deadly plague spread through the cities under his rule, killing enormous numbers of people. People close to him betrayed his trust. Any one of these events would be enough to break most people. He faced all of them at the same time, for years, without losing his composure or his sense of direction. What most people do not know is how he managed to stay this steady. Every single night, no matter how exhausting the day had been, he sat down privately and wrote to himself. Not speeches for the public, not messages for anyone else to read. Just private reflections, reminders, and corrections aimed at his own mind. He reminded himself what was actually in his control and what was not. He reframed setbacks as part of the natural order of things rather than personal attacks. He reflected on how to treat himself and others with patience instead of anger. Those quiet, private notes eventually became one of the most respected pieces of writing to survive from the ancient world. Not because he was untouched by suffering, but because he had built, night after night, the exact mental habits we have been walking through in this video. Everything you just learned comes down to 5 simple pillars. Know what is actually yours to control, and let go of the rest. Change the meaning you give to painful moments, instead of letting the moment control you. Protect your peace with real boundaries, on purpose, every single day. Use your breath to calm your body when your mind starts spinning, and speak to yourself with the same patience you would offer someone you love. None of this works if it just stays in your head as information. Knowledge without action changes nothing. So here is your challenge before you close this video. Do not try to apply all 5 pillars at once. Pick just one. Maybe it is sorting your worries into what you can control and what you cannot. Maybe it is the 3 questions to reframe a setback. Maybe it is simply the breathing pattern for the next time someone triggers you. Choose one, practice it today, in a real moment, with a real person, under real pressure. That is the only way this becomes part of who you are, instead of just another video you watched and forgot. The world is not going to get quieter. People are not going to stop testing your patience. Life is not going to stop throwing hard moments at you. But you now know something most people never learn. Peace was never something you had to wait for. It was something you had to train. And from this moment forward, that training is in your hands. If this video gave you even one thing you needed to hear today, do not let it end here. Hit like right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need exactly this message. Subscribe, because this is just the beginning of the tools we are going to build together. And if you know someone who has been carrying too much lately, someone who needs to hear that they can train their way back to peace, share this video with them. It might be exactly what they needed today. Stay unbothered, stay in control, and I will see you in the next one.